Now let's meet the starting lineups for this afternoon's game between the Hawkeyes of Iowa and the Vandals of Idaho. At a forward for Iowa, a 6'6" senior from Chicago, Illinois, number 40, Kevin Boyle. At a forward for Idaho, a 6'6" junior from Portland, Oregon, number 44, Phil Hobson. The other forward for Iowa, a 6'5" junior from Des Moines, Iowa, number 24. For Idaho, a 6'6" senior from Penticton, British Columbia, number 20, Gordy Herbert. At center for the Hawkeyes, a 6'11" freshman from Quincy, Illinois, number 42, Michael Payne. The Idaho center, a 6'6" junior from Pasco, Washington, number 40, Kelvin Smith. At a guard for Iowa, a 6'2" sophomore from Bellflower, California, number 15, Steve Carfino. Guards for Idaho, a 6'5" junior from Richland, Washington, number 12, Brian Kellerman. The other guard for Iowa, a 6'2" senior from Chicago, Illinois, number 30, Kenny Arnold. And for Idaho, 6 feet tall, a senior from New York, New York, number 14, Ken Owens. The head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Lute Olson, and the head coach for Idaho, Don Munson. There are your starting lineups. We'll be back for the tip-off for Iowa and Idaho right after this. The officials for today's game: in the middle, Jim McDaniel, the referee from the Southland Conference. On your left, Larry Lembo from the ECAC. On your right, Ron Zetcher from the Missouri Valley. Irv Brown, we're set to play basketball.
Yes, we are, and it's going to be a dandy. The home court advantage is right here. There's a guy who's not going to play today, Fred, Mark Gannon. He's a tough kid. They're going to miss him. He just can't go on this tartan turf.
He has bad ankles and bad knees. And Iowa picks up the tip. Kenny Arnold to Steve Carfino. Idaho in the zone. Arnold along the left wing. Carfino to Boyle. This is Ron Hansen with the basketball. I get the feeling that Lute Olson would almost rather bring Hansen off the bench, but he's in the starting lineup today.
He's that kind of a kid. He can shoot the eyes out of it. Of course, this is one of the better matchup zones you'll see in the country.
Arnold shot intimidated by Idaho inside. The Vandals come away with the basketball.
Iowa opens up with the man. That means you'll see a lot of passing game and high-low stuff for Idaho. Look at this. He got a puppy to start out with.
Inside the score is Gordy Herbert. Picks up the first 2 points of the ballgame.
Idaho pressing. The only reason they're doing this, Fred, to start out is to get their kids out of being tense, because Don Munson does not like the press. Here's the violation, and the ball will go back to Iowa. But once again, to make the point, the only reason Munson is starting out in the press is to get his kids out of the fact that they will be a little uneasy. They didn't play Friday night. Iowa did.
Kenny Arnold to Carfino for Iowa. Boyle to Hansen. He can shoot, but he's short with a try. Kellerman up court to Gordy Herbert, and we have a charge called on Gordy Herbert. That's the first personal foul of the ballgame.
Excellent position by Carfino, who draws a start today because he didn't start the other night. They can't afford to fall behind. Carfino out of Bellflower, California, gets the good position. The call is made by Ron Zetcher out of the Missouri Valley Conference. It's a correct call. The ball will be inbounded.
2-2 tie. It's 2-0 Idaho.
You know, matchup zone, a lot of people don't understand it. Look at this block. Boy, is this Idaho revved up to play. They're 26-2. They play a matchup better than anybody right now in the country. A matchup gives you the security of a zone, also gives you the hustle of man-to-man. Don Munson asks his people to do superhuman things, and they do it.
That was Phil Hobson with the block, and this is Smith. The shot won't go. Owens battling, can't come down with the rebound. Bob Hansen does for Iowa, and up comes Carfino with the basketball.
Here's what they want to do against his zone, Fred. They want to bring Payne up high and then pick. He'll either jump pass or skip pass, that is, or you'll see something like this. Boyle misses the puppy.
Boyle missing with a reverse layup. Defended by Kelvin Smith, and here's Ken Owens. Carfino defending Owens. Kenny Arnold's on Kellerman.
Iowa started very slow against Northeast Louisiana, came on late, led by Bob Hansen. They can't afford to do that against this ball club. There's a foul by Carfino. Owens has been the MVP in the Big Sky Conference the last 2 years. Nobody wanted this kid, Fred. For that matter, nobody wanted any of these kids. People passed on him. Don Munson went out and recruited him. There's a picture of Munson. Boy, he's a winner, I'll guarantee you. Looks like he ought to be going bowling instead of coaching, but all he can do is win and coach.
Idaho, the Big Sky Conference champions at 13-1. They're 26-2 on the year. Owens free throw good. You saw his percentage. Great free throw shooter. 86% from the line on the year for Ken Owens.
They asked him to fill Donnie Newman's shoes 2 years ago, and Munson was very honest. He said, I really didn't want the kid. I wanted 2 others, but he was the only one available. He's been terrific. All right, there's Lute Olson explaining to Stokes, who come in off the bench, what he's got to do. Here's a half-court trap, and they run it pretty good.
Now we have a foul called against Gordy Herbert.
All right, here's the block call. Does it go on Herbert? I think they're going to give it to Owens. Not sure if I believe they did give it to Owens. Little block calls. The officials call him a little tight to start out with. 17:40 remaining. A 4-0 score, that is.
And now Kevin Boyle whistles for the foul at the other end of the floor. It is 2-0. Idaho in front of Iowa. 17:35 left in the first half.
Iowa's picking up at half court. Got a big assignment with this Idaho ball club. They move it as well as anybody. Look at this.
Ryan Kellerman. Kellerman banks it off the wing, and he has 2.
Kellerman is a very intelligent kid. He gets into shouting matches with his coach because he is intelligent. He's intense. He gets the job done. His ball club leads 6-0. Iowa's got to come back and get a bucket right here, Fred.
Carfino wild in the lane, throws it away. Up court for Kellerman against Kenny Arnold, and a foul call against Carfino.
Carfino picks up number 2. Here's another look as Carfino will pick up the foul before the travel call. There's the foul right there. Steve, brother Don, played at USC. That's 3 team fouls now on the Hawkeyes, 2 on the Vandals.
Herbert to Owens. For the Idaho Vandals to Kellerman in the circle. Quick shot up, and he got it. Ryan Kellerman.
Lute Olson needs a timeout. This is the same start he had the other night against Northeast Louisiana. He wants a timeout. He gets it. We've got 16:48 remaining here in Pullman, Washington. Idaho is down 8-0. Look at this crowd. They're going crazy. I'll tell you what, they're just about 10 miles up the road in Moscow, Idaho, and they are down here in Pullman, Washington. They're wired up, Fred. They came to see a good ball club. We got a dandy for Idaho. This is what you call a relief pitcher. This is George Raveling, the head coach at Washington State. George, we grabbed you out of the crowd. My good buddy Fred White has got laryngitis. We're going to put a little pressure on you. You're going to do the color. And let me tell you something. I heard you at the luncheon yesterday, and you can get through anything, so we're going to have some fun. My first attempt at play-by-play. Here we go. It's 8-0 in favor of Iowa. Carfino with the basketball. George, they have come out in this matchup zone. It's one of the better matchup zones in the country. You played this ball club earlier. How do you attack it as we watch Stokes get the first bucket for Iowa?
I think you've got to attack it with patience and with a lot of movement to confuse it. If you run a stationary offense against it, I think you're going to have problems. And they've got to concentrate on getting the ball inside.
George Raveling, the coach of Washington State. This is Owens, the point guard, with the basketball. They like to run the passing game. That means that they're vulnerable to the running game at the other end of the court. Looking inside, this is Kellerman, number 12, MVP 2 years ago. Goes up for the shot. It hangs. Down with the rebound is Boyle. Carfino on the run to Hansen. Hansen, the good shooter, NBA top, goes up, and the ball is swatted away. unable to save it. Hey, how about that action, George Raveling? Kelvin Smith with the dandy.
Kelvin Smith is an incredible leaper. He's been doing this all season long. This isn't something new for him.
Trapped the ball off the glass, but once again, when it goes up, it's legal. Carfino buries one. This is a kid out of Bellflower, California. 8-4 is our score, George.
Brother was a starting guard for USC a couple years ago.
Once again, the Vandals in their passing game. Here's a turnover. Boyle, the kid who does so many things that doesn't show up in the box score. They don't get the layup here, but Carfino saves the ball. This is Arnold. Carfino will be at the point. This is their best shooting team, George. They'll go with Hansen and Arnold at the wings. They'll try and bring Stokes up high. Payne taking a blow. Carfino buries another one.
Now, that's one of the things that I think is effective against their zone is screening. Now, a lot of teams don't screen against that zone, especially the high post man. That's going to create a mismatch in the zone.
8-6 is our score. Here's Don Munson. He's got his head down. One of the most superstitious coaches in America. Hook shot, no good. Look at the battle on the backboard. And that'll bring Don Munson off the bench. It looked like a foul.
I think the replay is going to show a foul here. They took his legs from under him here. Here he goes up. Now see the hip action in there. It took his legs from under him.
Well, you always referee pretty good on the bench anyway.
Irv, one of the things that I think that we ought to point out to our viewers is that Idaho calls all their plays from the bench, and they have signs. You'll see their assistant coaches stand up each time they get the ball, and they'll hold up a sign, and that sign indicates what play Don Munson wants them to run. They're one of the few teams out here on the West Coast that runs a set pattern every single time down court. As the game progresses, I think you'll see that they'll run an awful lot of lob plays against a man-to-man. They haven't done it yet, but as the game progresses, they're going to run a lot of lob plays to their big men.
All right, George Raveling, the coach from Washington State University, sitting in for Fred White, who came down with some laryngitis. Irv Brown doing the play-by-play. It's 8-6 in favor of Idaho as Iowa's close fast. You know, Don Munson ran a man-to-man defense in the high school. Didn't feel, there's a look at Munson and his record, didn't feel that it was all that he wanted, covering the gray areas. Went to the matchup, and what he does, he makes a guy like Owens sprint at the offensive sets. He guards. There's Munson with his head down. He said he's going to curl his hair next time he comes on.
I tell you what, now the people talk about Bobby Knight being an intense coach. Well, I'll tell you what, no one's more intense than Don Munson, and he's an excellent coach.
And yet what's funny, George, he'll let his kids yell and scream at him. He's very superstitious, keeps his head down on defense. All right, here we go. We're back live. 14:52 remaining. This is Carfino with the basketball.
Okay, they've switched this matchup now. They switched to a 1-3-1 matchup in there now. See, they're trapping. See, there was a trap in the corner. I don't think
All right, here's another look, George. This is a foul on Stokes, and you could have an argument right here if you're a Vandal fan that possibly, or an Iowa fan, that he didn't travel first.
I think you're right on that, Irv. Irv, I don't think that Iowa picked up the change in the defense there. They were in a 1-3-1 trap that time.
Iowa will run zone every once in a while. It looks like a matchup. Basically, it's a 2-1-2. Here's a nice dump off that George Raveling was talking about. Inside to Smith, and the Vandals jump up 10-6.
You won't find two more intelligent guards than Owens and Kellerman. Very smart basketball players.
Another turnover. Stokes can't handle it. Very hard for people 6'9" to handle bounce passes, and that's exactly what happened.
Maybe our cameraman will catch their bench there and see the signal being held up there. See their... They got it up. They're going to run C.
All right, we'll look for C. This is Kenny Owens, a junior college transfer. There's the lob to Phil Hobson. Hobson can't handle it. Goes up with the left hand. Ball doesn't go down. But the foul is on Stokes. Stokes is a very exciting freshman who I thought looked extremely tough the first night against Northeast Louisiana. Is foul prone, though, George. If you take it to the hole, give the officials a decision, this is what's going to happen.
I think you're right. Iowa has good depth, though. They come off the bench with Payne to replace Stokes, and Stokes to answer for Payne. He plays about 8 or 9 players every game.
3 for 3 for the Vandals as Hobson buries one. 11-6 our score. Irv Brown, George Raveling with you from Pullman, Washington, Western Region.
Irv, I don't think you can overlook the crowd as a factor for Idaho. They have well over 7,000 fans here, and that could be a big factor for them going down the stretch.
Well, when you played them right here on your home court, I understand that they made her fans.
That's the truth. They brought over 4,500 fans when we played them here, and I tell you what, they supported their team very enthusiastically.
Carfino a little hard off the glass. The rebound to Smith. This is Kellerman on the run to Owens. A little jumper top of the key. On the back is Smith. And there's the foul. Larry Limbo comes in.
The outside official caught that over the back for the illegal tip-in. Here it is on the replay here. Now watch him come over the back on the illegal tip-in here. Here he comes.
And George,
there he is, right over his back.
You use 3 officials in the Pac-10, and that's where the center official can pick it up. Lute Olson, Long Beach State, Iowa, has won 20 basketball games, 5 out of the last 6 years. He's a winner. He runs a class program. He's got 2 of the most exciting freshmen in the land in Stokes and Payne.
Irv, he's too good looking to be a basketball
coach. He certainly is. Munson made that comment. He says, we have the same colors, team colors for the schools. And I hope my wife doesn't go over and give Lute Olson a kiss because I'm going to be upset. All right, this is Arnold, senior out of Chicago.
This is one of the few second shots they've had at the basket so far, Irv.
Idaho is not a good rebounding ball club. In fact, Judd Heathcote at Michigan State went out of the defense because of that. Bad shot by Kevin Boyle, the other senior co-captain. 11-6 is our score. Kenny Owens with the ball. This is Kellerman. Kellerman to Herbert. You wonder how this kid gets it done. He doesn't have a lightning first step, doesn't jump particularly well. He's the leading rebounder. Vandals keep it alive. Hobson, he'll go pick now into the passing game once again. This is Smith underneath Owens, low post.
One of the problems that Idaho's having, Irv, is when they put the ball inside to Smith, he has a tendency to set the ball on the floor instead of going directly into the offensive movement. He sets the ball on the floor, which allows the defense chance to move in.
Here's a final. Villanova in triple overtime. Raleigh Massimino's ball club gets all they want today. Finally come out a winner.
My alma mater.
That's right.
Villanova. Wildcats.
That's right. They said you could really shoot it there. There goes Stokes with the left hand. And the foul. Here's the foul on Big Smith. Here's the left hand. Stokes goes up very strong with the basketball.
Good call. He put his chest in and took his legs from under him.
This is a tartan surface, George, that you play on. You find that your players have any problems because one of the Iowa Hawkeyes isn't playing today. Mark Gannon, a rugged kid, has got to sit it out because of some problems with the ankle.
Well, no, we have had no problems in the 10 years I've been here. We're going to eventually go to a wood floor, but we have no problems whatsoever.
There's Gannon, the kid we're talking about. He's tough, 6'7", junior. Got another chance to go to the NCAA next year out of Iowa City. Iowa can't keep control.
Okay, Irv.
All right, there's the action underneath.
A little hard to tell on that. Now they're going to run basic. Idaho put up a sign saying run basic.
All right, we'll take a look.
Now Kellerman's going to go through to the corner on this one. I know these plays by heart. Now there they come. They tried to isolate Kellerman, but good defense by Iowa then.
This is the point guard, Kenny Owens. He's the guy who makes it go, and Carfino is with him every step of the way. This is Hobson, back to Owens. Here's the pick down low as they go to Smith.
Idaho's tendency is to run the set play. If they do not get that, then they automatically go to a passing game offense.
Good position. It's a block call, and that's going to bring the crowd down. And Don Munson is off the bench. Kellerman got excellent position. We want to take a look again as Larry Lembo spots a blocking call. It looked like he was set from this angle. Take a look, George.
I don't know about that one, Irv. It was a little hard to tell, but I frankly thought that Kellerman had established good defensive position on that.
And here's the rule. You've got to give him one step. It's a charge all the way.
A charge all the way. No question about that one.
Well, they're sure easy to call here, George. I just give you a lot of technicals when you contest that. There's Stokes with the left hand, long off the glass. Hobson doing a good job, gets the boards, and Stokes picks up a silly foul, George.
Well, that's a typical... You know, he's a typical freshman, a little over-anxious in that.
Anderson comes in. This is a nuts and bolts guy. He'll hit the boards for you.
Boy, I love the physical structure of these Iowa players.
Well, they'll really hit the boards. They're long suit all year long is the defense. rebounding. Don Munson, 26-2 this year. A lot of rumors about him, George. Dave Strack from Arizona is supposed to be here. There's the most superstitious guy in America. I always used to tell him, you can only yell at me half the time because you only watch half the time.
Okay, this is a play they call rub.
Smith, shooting is not real good in the early going. 11-6 with 11:04 left. This is Scarfino on the run. Slows it up now. Anderson in the action. First time he saw limited action against Northeast Louisiana on Friday. Here's Hanson, the NBA-type shooter, and he buries one.
Irv, if you notice the last 4 or 5 times down court now, Iowa's been able to put the ball in the side, in the lane area. If they continue to do that, I'm going to suggest that Idaho's going to have some trouble.
Irv Brown and George Raveling with you from Pullman, Washington. Once again, if you joined us late, Fred White, our play-by-play guy, had a problem with some laryngitis. George filling in. We just grabbed him out of the crowd. He's doing his job. Hobson puts one in. Gives his ball club a 13-8 lead. Payne and Smith battling underneath pretty good. Smith following him all over. Once again in the matchup. A very active matchup zone. This is the real team concept. George, I think if we're dead honest, the 5 guys on this ball club, nobody recruited them. Nobody wanted them individually. Together, they're a perfect blend. Good basketball.
Great role players.
Payne goes up very strong. Second team all Big Ten performer this year. If you're second team in the Big Ten, you've done a great job as a
Especially
freshman.
as a freshman. Once again, Irv, the penetration of the ball inside. That's going to be the key for Iowa.
George, when you played this ball club, where did you feel the gaps were? Penetration, the movement? Oh, look at the shot by Kelvin Smith. Smith down the left side, throws it in with the right hand.
He's a junior college transfer out of Taft Junior College in California, but he's from Pasco, Washington.
This is Hobson on the boards. Owens comes down, pushes it, even though he doesn't have the break, goes under. And here's the foul on
He's hurt.
That's number 3.
Boy, I tell you what, he looks like he's seriously hurt there.
Steve Carfino takes a tough
They
fall.
should not move him. They should not move him right now.
Here's the rule now. The official will signal the trainer back on, or out onto the floor, that is.
And then they must substitute.
Carfino is being administered by the trainer. George, you make a great point. You really don't want to roll him over. You don't want to move him. All right, we'll take another look, George. Go ahead.
Okay, here's Carfino trying to take the charge. Okay, now where he gets hurt here, Irv, is as he goes down, he takes a knee. I think you'll see him take a knee here. It wasn't intentional.
Very
right here as Owens come down, you see the knee.
All right, so a blocking foul there. Our score here in Pullman, Washington, 15-10, 9:21 remaining.
The tour swings across the country, and CBS Sports Emmy Award-winning team will be there as golf's greatest meet at the Tournament Players Championship. See it here on CBS Sports.
Irv, here are the shooting statistics. Idaho is 6 for 11 for 54%. Iowa 5 for 16 for 31%. Rebounds are Idaho 10, Iowa 9. Very close.
And a report on Steve Carfino, George. Just had the wind knocked out of him. He'll be back in, but not this half with 3 fouls. Look at Big Payne as he goes up. Ball will not go down. Ron Zetcher spots a foul. Number 24 picks up the foul. Bobby Hanson. Take a look, George.
Coming off.
A lot of action, a lot of hands underneath there.
Yeah, he grabbed him. He definitely pulled him by the wrist there.
In college basketball, when you commit the 7th foul, you're into the 1-and-1, and that is the case here in Pullman, Washington.
Irv, interesting situation here now. Iowa switched to a 1-guard offense now. The only true guard on the floor is Arnold.
Herbert buries the first one. This is the Canadian kid, and Don Munson was very honest about why he picked him up. He says he had some Canadian kids at Michigan State with Judd Heathcote, found them very hardworking, industrious, and this kid shouldn't be able to play the game if you take a look at the computer, but you forget to measure his heart, and he's only their leading rebounder. 17-10 here in Pullman, Washington. Iowa down by 7. This is Arnold directing traffic. Payne, the freshman, looking inside for Big Anderson. Boy, he's a load.
What they do is they bring the big man up to the top on the rotation and get him the ball because he can see over the zone and get the ball inside here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Idaho go to some sort of press here with this big lineup on the floor for Iowa.
This is Kevin Boyle, the senior who's been all everything at Iowa. Anderson, the kid who wasn't supposed to play, buries one at 17-12.
I tell you, it's hard to find a player that with more basketball intelligence than Kevin Boyle. I tell you, he's like a coach on the floor. Every coach in America would like to have a youngster like him.
This is Owens with the alley-oop. Hobson can't get it, but he goes back up. Great second effort. Hobson picks up the bucket. Listen to the crowd, George. They're going wild in Pullman.
Boston College, 23, DePaul, 24.
Of course, Ray Myers has got the great superstar. Here's a pickup. This is Kellerman going hard to the hole. He's got it.
Got to get a timeout here. Luke's going to get a timeout here. He's got to take the crowd out of the game here.
Absolutely, and look at the crowd that George Raveling is talking about.
He's got to get the crowd out of the game right now. This could be a very crucial point here.
They're as wired up as they've been the whole time. 8 miles down the road. Once again, the quick hands of Idaho as they calls the ball out of bounds. Carfino's coming back in with 3 fouls, George. What about this move?
I think he's got to go with 2 guards right now. There's no question about it. He needs the ball handling, and he needs the transition defense. See that last play there? The 4 forwards instinctively want to go to the boards to rebound the ball, and they only got caught with 1 person back on defense then.
This is Carfino at the point. Their best shooting team, Hanson and Arnold at the wings. Boyle working underneath, trying to post up, getting all he wants from Kelvin Smith. Kenny Owens on the point. They ask him to run a long way, do a lot of things. Here's Hanson. Let's see how they go. Is it a charge? It is. Larry Limbo took a long time to make that decision. Goes with the charge. Take a look, George.
Here it is. Boy, I don't know. That's a tough call. I wouldn't want to be the official making that call right there.
Well, that's not what you've told me anytime that your team was competing. Offensive foul. Larry Limbo, who's worked the national final out of Queens, New York. A school teacher. In fact, we've got 3 school teachers on the floor, George Raveling, which shows you school teachers are probably underpaid. They need the moonlight. All right, as you mentioned.
There's a full court press now by Iowa.
And Iowa's gone to another quick kid.
Idaho handles pressing situations very well.
Well, I got this kid here. This is the quarterback. He's the trigger man. Kenny Owens.
He's the glue for that team.
All right, in the corner now with Hobson. Owens is looking underneath as Hobson is trying to post up. There it is. He's got the inside. They've got an offensive foul, and Don Munson can't believe it.
I think they called him for hooking, Irv. I don't know if the replay's going to show it, but I think they called him for hooking with his arm. Here goes the replay. No, I don't know. I thought maybe he hooked him. That
appeared to be a blocking call.
Here it is. We got a better angle on this one here.
That looks.
No, that's definitely a block. Definitely a block.
This is Carfino. Working fast is the new player in the ballgame for Iowa. Caught as a 6'2 freshman out of Mapleton, Iowa. Working pass looking for a shot, and there's the quick hands of Idaho. Kenny Owens does it again, George.
They're amazing, I'll tell you. They play that matchup zone as well as any team I've seen.
All right, look at this. Don Munson's going to bring him out.
He's going to pull him out and buy some time on the clock. Now both teams are in 1-on-1 situation.
There's the alley-oop.
I told you, they'll run 15 or 20 of those.
Outstanding assist by Herbert as ball club leads by 11. They throw it up there, and look at this. Iowa wants a timeout. Kenny Arnold calls the timeout. They're standing in Pullman, Washington. George Raveling, this crowd is going crazy. Look at the alley-oop, George.
Here it is. Here it is. They brought Hobson up high. His defensive man tried to shut down his cut to the high post. He reverse cut, and they threw over top. This crowd's on its feet. Here it is. Let's take another look at this one there.
There he is. This 3 times, as you pointed out, George. Look at the leap and acceleration by Hobson as he gets up in the air and does his job.
Look at this crowd, Irv.
Irv Brown and George Raveling with you once again. For the last time, Fred White did have to bow with laryngitis. Where were you sitting when we came and got you, Coach George?
I was sitting directly across from you. I'm supposed to be evaluating officials. 3 of these officials go on to the next region, and I'm one of the people on the committee evaluating them, but I can do both.
Oh, yeah, because you've been evaluating officials all your life, and things like get your back off my hands, Is there an oculist in the house? You know, all kinds of good things like that. We were talking earlier, Dave Strack from the University of Arizona supposedly is in the crowd today. Could he be looking at Don Munson?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. Don Munson has publicly said that he's interested in the Arizona job. I also hear a lot of rumors around our area that Stanford's taking a serious look at him. A person who's enjoyed the success that Don Munson has, he's got to be a candidate for some of the top jobs in the country. And right now, some of the best jobs in America are open. Texas, Arizona State, Stanford.
How about the shooting percentages, George? What
Idaho is 9 for 17 for 53%. Iowa 6 for 19 for 32%. Idaho's also 5 for 6 from the foul line for 83%. Here's another steal.
Well, Carfino saved the puppy, but boy, look at Owens as he causes the 6th turnover unofficially. The Vandals have it all going their way with 5:46 remaining. They lead 23-12. Lute Olson's ball club has been unable to get on track. Here it is. A little hard off the glass for Hobson, but he battles for the rebound. Arnold and Carfino managed to save it. Need a bucket this time down, George.
No question about it. Irv, the people here in Pullman are going to see two of the best defensive teams in America, especially from the standpoint of playing the passing lanes. You won't see two teams that'll play the passing lanes better than Oregon State and Idaho. They anticipate ball movement as well as any teams I've seen in all the years I've been around college basketball.
Hansen couldn't handle the basketball. Another turnover. Full court pressure by Iowa. Kellerman beats it easily to Owens. Kellerman, Owens, Hobson, Smith, and Herbert. They'll go all the way. You might possibly see a 6-man, Pete Prigge, but this is a 5-man thing. Look at the look from this camera. A nice effort. And Herbert picks up the foul. Payne showing that good hustle. This is the freshman who's so quick, gets up and down the floor, causes a turnover, and maybe this will be the thing that will get this ball club going, because right now they haven't played well at all. They only have 12 points with 5:06 remaining.
One of the things that I would think that Lute Olson's looking at now is to try to get the ball inside and to create some three-point opportunities for his team. If he can get this back down to 4 or 5 points by halftime, I think he's in good shape.
This is Pete Prigge, the one substitute that Don Munson will use. Iowa now 1 of 4 from the line. That doesn't help matters. They struggle against Northeast Louisiana. Got a lift from Bob Hansen. You got to remember, this is a quality ball club, George, out of the Big Ten. And their biggest thrill in a team meeting was the year they went to the Final Four when they finished 4th at 12-8 in the Big Ten. So this is a ball club.
Here's the lob. Here's the lob set.
Hobson, jumper, buries it. 25-13. Hobson went up, made it look easy.
A lot of people have been asking, is Idaho for real? I think you can tell right now they're for real.
The only 2 losses, Montana on the road, a tough road trip to Notre Dame where they got fogged in. Carfino has been the main man for Iowa. He's saddled with 3 fouls. Hits another jumper.
He's got to make him respect him at the top of that offense.
8 points for Steve Carfino. Payne misses a steal. Nice jump stop.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point, Irv. A young player should take note of that. The fact that he penetrated, hit a jump stop to keep himself under control, and went straight up in the air for the shot.
Lute Olson wanted traveling, but that wasn't the case. It was a legal move and a good move. This is the matchup zone. There's the penetration. Boyle's got an easy one and puts it in.
Boy, is he a sweetheart of a player. Not only was he open, but he stepped up into the gap, and instead of making that a 15-foot shot, he changed it to a 10-foot by just simply stepping up into the gap as he received the basketball. A very intelligent player.
George, how many times this year did you get to run your man-to-man offense? Everybody's playing zone in America.
I tell you, we saw more zone this year than I have in all the other 10 years I've been here.
There's a great pass. Smith misses a stuff, but I'll tell you what, hey, you think the crowd didn't appreciate? Here it is, George.
Great pick and roll play here.
All right, Smith misses the stuff. Idaho leads 27-17, 3:23 remaining up in Pullman. We've got ourselves a dandy. We'll be back.
America's best college basketball teams are in full pursuit of the most glorious moment of their careers. Be a part of it. CBS Sports, the home of the NCAA Championship.
There's our score from Pullman, Washington. Idaho, out of the Big Sky Conference, leads Iowa, member of the Big Ten, 27-17. 3:22 remaining in the half. George, you mentioned that possibly Don Munson might want to buy some time after this.
Well, he's got Owens with 2 personal fouls, and he's got Smith with 2 personal fouls. He might want to buy a little time on the clock right now. This is a big possession for Iowa here.
Boyle keeps it alive. Big rebound once again by Hobson. He and Smith have done a great job along with Herbert. 3 minutes on the nose. This is Kenny Owens, the point guard. Carfino has 3 personal fouls. Owens is very quick, will try and penetrate and possibly pick up that 4th. This is Herbert, the Canadian, back to Kellerman.
They're going to pick a good shot here.
Good pressure by Carfino, gets away with one. Owens goes under. Good block by Payne.
They've got to push this one right to the basket.
Michael Payne will get it up and down to baseline as well as any freshman in America. Cuts it to 8.
Oh, that was a walk.
And that's exactly what Don Munson did not want to have happen in the late going. They turn it over. Iowa can cut it to 6. That's the 5th turnover now for the Vandals.
I would think that Iowa has got to continue to show some pressure now full court after a made basket here. If nothing other than to just try to force their offense out of that set pattern.
Payne is trying to get the inside position.
There's Boyle signaling for a high post screen here.
Herbert just battling him tooth and nail. This is Carfino at the top. Has gone all the way except for a brief rest with 3 fouls.
Irv, you notice one thing in this zone. You never see 2 Idaho players guarding 1 player. They have this set in a man-to-man principle. You never see 2 players guarding 1. Okay, here's a full court pressure now.
That was Kevin Boyle on the rebound.
This could be crucial. There it is.
Well, here's a foul right in front of us. A very crucial call.
That's a very questionable call there. I thought Boyle was going for the ball. I think. See, I think that I don't see that. That's a free ball there.
That is a free ball.
I don't see that. That's a no call.
In fact, that if anything, I got to go with the inside guy of the Vandals. 27-21. That's 2.
At worst, it's a no call. At best, it's a foul on the Vandals.
Owens is 2 for 2 from the line. Ball club leads by 6. They've come down and been a little shaky the last 2 times. They need to pick up a pair. Gets the first one.
If I'm Lute Olson, I got to feel good if I can get out here at halftime 5 down or under. I think you're in good shape.
Well, you make a great point because they're a good second half ball club. And they didn't get to the Final Four or to the regional playing in the Big Ten by not having a good basketball team. They've got good talent. This thing is a long way from over.
But keep in mind, they did not play well the first half against Northwest Louisiana either, and they came out like a house on fire in the second half.
Owens picks the ball up. Number 24, Hanson, couldn't handle it.
Okay, they're calling 5-man passing game. This is 5-man passing game now.
Tennessee Chattanooga leading Jimmy Dutcher's ball club at the half, 26-23. There's Kellerman up from the baseline, misses. And Kellerman is on the back. Kenny Arnold should go to the line.
Irv, let me tell you this. One of the best kept secrets in America is the fact that Murray Arnold, the head coach at Tennessee Chattanooga, I think is one of the really outstanding young coaches in America today. He has not gotten the credit that he deserves for what he's done with that program down there. And I'm going to tell you, that's another team that's for real. He's a Don Munson type of guy. There's a lot of just outstanding young coaches in America today.
Iowa's 1 for 4 from the line. This is Kenny Arnold, the senior from Chicago, gets the first one. Arnold and Boyle give the leadership. All right, Carfino comes out. This is a good move, George. Carfino with 3 fouls. Luke doesn't want him to pick up the 4th one at halftime.
They hit this one here. They've got it down to, what, 6? And that little full court pressure, they can get out of here in pretty good shape, I think. This thing is not out of the hand yet for Iowa.
Arnold gets a second one.
All right, there's a full court pressure. Okay, 5.
This is Owens. Man press, so Owens will signal everybody get out of the way. He takes it up himself easily. 1:14
5-man
left.
post is what they just signaled from the bench. They put up a sign saying 5-man post. There it is.
Hobson underneath, misses, goes back up and gets a tap.
That was a big bucket there for Idaho.
Hobson gives his ball club a 31-23 lead. 13 for Hobson. He's been the story offensively. Birkin pass from the side, long off the glass. Payne can't come up with it. And there's a foul. Kevin Boyle gets number 3.
Boyle does not even realize that he committed the foul. He's going to go berserk when he sees this. Kevin Boyle does not even realize they call a personal on him.
All right, this is Jimmy McDaniel, a principal out of Dallas, Texas, going over to get people squared away. The foul came in backcourt. Kevin Boyle, number 3. This is the inspirational guy. All right, we'll take a look at the action. Smith doing yeoman work on the board. Payne doesn't get the foul. The right, a good call as Kevin Boyle hammers. Anderson in for Boyle. So that's a big turnaround with 45 seconds remaining. Carfino with 3. Boyle with 3. Idaho is 7 of 8 from the line. Owens 4 for 4. Benzo's knees. Kid doesn't have a lot to say. Just goes out and plays, gets the first one.
Iowa's got all 5 players up there in the rebounding position.
What looked like possibly a 6-point lead for Idaho now could be 10. And that's a big bulge at halftime. That last foul really hurt Luke Olson's foul club. It's down 33-23.
We're down about 40 seconds here.
This is Arnold with the penetration.
What Iowa needs a 3-point play here. They need to get the ball inside, try to get it. There it is. Try to get a 3-point play.
Oh, you heard George Raveling. They went inside. Iowa wants goaltending. They don't get it. George, as you pointed out, Iowa went inside. They had the shot. It appeared that it could be a goaltending call. Center official passes on it. Idaho inbounds.
Here it is. Here it is. Let's see if it was a goaltend or not. All right, he rolls. No, I thought he hit the ball before it got up on the rim. Okay, Idaho's in a delay game. They call this offense a tease. A lot of teams are running this now.
We're down to 9 seconds. They got to hurry to get a shot. Here's Owens, the guy they want with the ball. Munson is up yelling. They're going to have to hurry.
It's 2.
All right, Herbert misses at the gun.
They got to do their best shooting. They got to do their best shooting.
CBS Sports coverage of the 19th. We'll get to some other things in a minute, George. 33-23.
That foul by Boyle was a very crucial situation there for Iowa because they had a chance to knock that thing down to 6 and a possibility of getting out here only 4 down. So that was a big turnaround for them.
All right, CBS Sports coverage of the 1982 NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this word from your local station.
This is CBS.
Okay, Idaho and Iowa 33-23 as the Vandals have had it all their own way out here in Pullman, Washington. Irv Brown, George Raveling with you. George stepped away for just a minute. We've had a very interesting basketball game. It has been all defense for Idaho. Iowa has turned it over time and time again. They've had all kinds of difficulty and trouble with this matchup zone. Once again, a matchup zone is simply this. You ask your people to run at people. You never ask them to do anything within 15 feet of the basket by themselves. You always get some help, and that's the type of a defense we're seeing today from Idaho, and that's why they lead this ball game by 10 points. Iowa has got to get some things going. We have a guy who not only coached at Iowa, but played Idaho. If I can get Ralph Miller to come over. Coach Miller, come here just a second, if you will. Ralph Miller was the coach at Iowa University. Now is at Oregon State. His ball club will play in the second game today. And Ralph, you did have an opportunity to coach at Iowa. You played Idaho, and Idaho got a pretty good piece of you early in the year.
Oh, this is a typical matchup, I think. A big team versus quickness and speed. Idaho has a very fine ball club. They have a lot of quick. They're a very intelligent ball club. And I knew this would be a tough game for Iowa. But still, they might wear Idaho down. But right now, they're in a good shape.
When you played Idaho the first time, they were extremely quick against you. You would fight them differently. How?
No, we'll play a better game next time we play them if we get a chance. We never change our pattern. They outplayed us so badly that I hate to talk about it, but they did. They just took us into camp like nobody had ever seen before, and I think it was a great lesson for our people. And we'll have a different ball club than we used when we first played them because we were going with our big unit, and now we'll be going with a smaller unit if we play Utah. In fact, that's what we'll go with, regardless who we play.
Ralph, good luck to you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, our score is 33-23 in Pullman, Washington. Idaho over Iowa. We've got ourselves a dandy. We'll be back.
The preceding message was furnished by the NCAA.
Irv Brown and George Raveling back in Pullman, Washington. Our score 33-23. George, what does Iowa have to do to make up this 10-point lead? First of all, on offense.
Offensively, I think they've got a good balance between the inside and outside offense. I think what Iowa needs more than anything is some three-point plays, and they've got to get someone hitting from the corners for them. They got the perimeter at the top. Corfino's doing a pretty good job for them. But on the corners, they're not getting any offense out of the corners at all. I think if they hit out of the corners, that'll open the post area up more for them.
How about defensively? What adjustments?
Defensively, I'd like to see them press the guards a little more when they pick the ball up, and I would think that they'd want to front the post in there. They're letting the ball come in on entry pass to the post very easily, and I would think maybe in the second half, Lute's going to play in front of the post instead of behind them.
All right, we've heard it from George Raveling, who is the coach at Washington State University, played this Idaho ball club earlier in the year, has been a good friend of Lute Olson's for a long time, so we'll see if that is a strategy. In fact, that Lute Olson comes out, we'll see what Don Munson wants to do. Our score, once again, 33-23 in Pullman, Washington.
The preceding message was furnished by the NCAA.
You really could not call Oscar Robertson's basketball ability spectacular in the manner of a Dr. J, but there was no denying his incredible effectiveness throughout his collegiate career. The man they called the Big O is the subject of this NCAA All-Star Yearbook.
NCAA All-Star Yearbook with Kurt Gowdy is brought to you by Xerox.
Oscar Robertson, averaging 33 points during his career, may have been college basketball's most complete player. He led Cincinnati to the Final Four in 1959 and 60, scoring 108 points, claiming 60 rebounds in 4 games. The Big O set a new standard for play in the backcourt, averaging 15 rebounds over his career and roaming the baseline at will. 23 times he scored more than 40 points, once pouring in 62. Although never an NCAA finalist himself, Oscar Robertson started Cincinnati on the way to becoming a basketball power.
One of the marvelous things about Oscar Robertson is the fact that there was never any wasted effort. If he could shoot the layup, he'd do it. He wouldn't pull up for the flashy jump shot. He did what he had to do to beat you. And our NCAA basketball coverage will continue after these messages from your local station.
This is CBS. And Mazda quality products. Honeywell, you should see what we do with computers. And by Northwestern Mutual Life, the quiet company, a tough act to follow.
Irv Brown and George Raveling back at Pullman, Washington. 33-23 our score. Idaho on top. George, there's the stats. Iowa 10 of 25 from the field. Not a particularly good percentage. Idaho 12 of 29. You made some comments, the differences you see it, why Idaho is up.
I think the biggest difference right now is at the foul line because one team's taken 29 shots, Idaho, Iowa 25. 50% of Iowa's shots have come inside the lane, so they've got a nice balance there. Idaho, on the other hand, has had excellent distribution of their shots. Hobson's taken 8, Kellerman 6, right down the line. The rest of them have taken 5 apiece in there. One thing I noticed about Idaho is they've assisted on 7 out of the 12 baskets that they've made.
All right, individually now we want to take a look at some of the people who've done the job. Of course, for Idaho, Phil Hobson has 11 points, George. Carfino saddled with 3 fouls, picked up 6. Michael Payne, who I thought came on near the end of the half, picked up 5.
But Payne was only 2 for 7, though. It took him 7 shots to get that 5 points.
And the big problem, of course, foul trouble for Iowa. They're in serious trouble with Carfino, who has 3. Kevin Boyle also has 3 fouls. The other side of the coin, 2 apiece for all 4 of the starters for Idaho, with the exception of Phil Hobson, who has 1. So that'll set the stage in Pullman, Washington. Irv Brown and George Raveling with you. 33-23 is our score. Idaho will inbound the basketball. You only jump it up once in college basketball. We're set to go. The ball is in. Iowa comes out in their man-to-man once again, and underneath immediately is Big Smith.
There's a situation where a coach might rather see a jump ball rather than the new rule where you get possession. A jump ball might have helped Iowa there. Now instead of being 10 down, they're 12.
You make excellent sense. I think that's one of the rules that most college coaches would like to see changed, or at least go to the Pac-10 rule, where if you play good defense, a 5-second count gives you the basketball. There's a nice effort underneath by Boyle.
Okay, here's the full court pressure now. I would think that you're going to see Iowa keep this full court pressure on until they get the game back into perspective. Good switching in there. Oh, nice double team. Boyle's got to be a little cautious holding 3 there.
That could be a very key thing down the stretch. Iowa wanting to press. Carfino and Boyle both have 3 fouls. That means that they
All right, here to go with the lob.
The long, and then Carfino picks up number 4, George. And we have only played a minute and 2 seconds. Lute Olson on the sideline must make a decision. Do you take the kid out? He's trying to press.
You've got to take him out.
There's another look as Carfino picks it up.
You can't fault Carfino for that. That's a hustle foul there. The kid's putting out. You can't fault him for that.
Lute has not made a move. I got to believe they'll take it right at Carfino. Will Lute Olson go to his zone here to protect Steve Carfino?
I would think that Munson would bring him out of it if he went zone.
They go inside now. Here's Smith. Ball may go in. Smith gets hammered by Michael Payne. Nothing going right for Iowa right now.
Irv, this is what I said at the halftime, is that I think that you've got to deny that entry pass to the post or make it as difficult as possible. By Payne playing behind the post man, he allows him to get the ball and then tries to defense the basketball. That's the most difficult situation that a post defender can have. I think it would be a lot easier to try to prevent the ball from coming in to start with.
Kelvin Smith gets a second one for Smith. That's his 6th point, I beg your pardon. This is Arnold in the corner.
Carfino's open on the weak side of the floor, but they don't see him.
All right, there's Boyle with a short jumper. He's got it. To get the ball to Carfino, they got to skip past, George, something they like to do. Carfino pressing.
Either that or hit the post and then go back over. Carfino's got to be careful here.
Almost
I
picked up
admire
the
his
5th
courage,
one.
but he's got to be careful. They need him.
Idaho gets the ball across midcourt. They lead by 9. This is Herbert. Top to Hobson. That's Kellerman, the leader. Point guard Owen goes
there
up.
It is.
That's
there
it.
It is.
Carfino is gone.
Boy, that's very unfortunate.
Steve Carfino, by our count, has fouled out. Unless we have made an error. That is his 4th foul. We stand corrected. Steve Carfino has 4. We apologize for the mistake. Owens at the line.
Owens is not known as a good jump shooter there. You don't like to see Carfino just put his hand up and make Owens shoot over the top. But he is an excellent foul shooter. Now, he went 6 for 6 in the first half, and he's a very good pressure shooter for him.
Kenny Owens makes it 8 for 8. He now has 8 points, all from the line. George, he was 0 for 4. From the field, has been tough at the line. Here's Stokes back in, replaces Carfino.
Okay, they're going with their big lineup now. They're going with 2 centers and 2 forwards and a 1-guard offense here. Let's see if Monson will counter and put a little pressure on him.
Idaho stayed in the matchup. This is Boyle, the senior out of Chicago. His younger brother has already
skip
committed
past that ball, Irv. The weak side guy's wide open if they'll skip past the ball.
Boyle gets his 2nd one in a row this half. He's an excellent competitor. He doesn't know the meaning of the word quit. That's 10 for Kevin Boyle. A kid who has not shot well this year. Arnold gets a silly one. Herbert, an excellent job getting him up in the air.
Okay, here's Arnold. See, shouldn't have went up then. Irv, there's plenty of time. 17 minutes is a lifetime in a basketball game. they're getting the game back in focus now. I think they're getting a little over-anxious in the press now. I think what Luke wants them to do is to play containment defense, to play the passing lanes, try to get the ball handler to pick up his dribble, and then shut down the other 4 players.
Have you had the feeling at all this afternoon that Iowa's ever gotten the tempo they have tried to get into? I just don't have that feeling that they've gotten the tempo that they want to be in.
That, and also I think that they're a little frustrated, and that accounts for some of the little foolish fouls that they're committing right now.
Okay, we are in the Western region, taking another look. Villanova beat Northeastern 76-72, triple overtime. Alabama leads St. John's 32-23 at the half. Wim Sanderson coaches that ball club.
Tell you, that's a long way from over. Louis Conaseca is one heck of a coach, and I tell you, he's a great motivator, and he's got some really fine leapers on that team there. That game will be an interesting game. I think it'll go right down to the wire, that St. John's Alabama game.
Well, you make a good point. Of course, your roots are in the East, and Eastern kids know how to play the game, and nobody knows how to play the game any better than Louis kids every year.
Well, you know, they play an awful lot of ball in New York City, but I'm not sure that Eastern kids have a cornerstone on basketball.
It has changed very definitely. Where it used to be that way, now you get good high school basketball in Los Angeles. You know, the West is definitely coming on. Our score is 38-29 with 17:37 remaining. George Raveling has pointed out there is a lot of time left in this baby. Idaho beats the pressure by Arnold easily. This is Smith, who's been so dominant on the board. There's the alley-oop. Oh, do they handle it, George?
That was a set play. Okay, now here's a screen. See, there's a screen, a back screen. What happened? They set up in a double post, and they brought the postman up and back screen the wingman. The wingman went in for the lob.
Payne throws up a brick. There's a jump ball. Hansen is tied up by Herbert. The crowd is still excited and wild. On the alternating possession, the ball will go to Iowa.
As I told you earlier, Irv, you'll see 15 of those at minimum before this game's over. They have at least 6 variations of lob plays that they'll run.
This is Boyle. He's the leading scorer now with 10. Boyle is now at the top as they've got Arnold and Hansen at the wings. Hansen's an excellent shooter, and he buries one. Hansen now has 4. This is Herbert. A lot of patience on this ball club. They feel they can beat
good
the
help
press.
there by. That was very good help there by Arnold. Nice jump switch.
This is Owens, the guy they want.
Okay, Monty's slowing him down. He's calling the play now. He told him to move it out.
Would this be a problem to take away the tempo they've established and slow it down?
No, they're trying to get a set play here now. They want to get organized. Okay, they call 5-man passing game.
They are high-low now with Smith and Hobson. There's the pick. Looking down low. This is Hobson. There he looks under for Smith. Bad pass. Payne picks off. 9-point lead for Idaho with 16-12 remaining. Another score, George. Alabama leads St. John's. Once again, I think we ran by that one 34-25. Hansen goes underneath.
It's a big possession here.
Payne puts one down.
Irv, you know what I like about that play? He took the ball to the basket to try to create a three-point opportunity. That's what he's...
Excellent steal by Boyle, but Herbert gets it back. This is Kellerman. Kellerman to the top. Boyle gets another pickup. They got a puppy. Here's Kenny Arnold. Goes up. Got a layup. Ball club is down by only 5 points.
The momentum right now is with Iowa. The press has turned it around for them.
Arnold now has 4. This is Owens. 40-35, our score from Pullman, Washington. The crowd is trying to get Idaho back in it. Iowa, Never Say Die Ball Club, has cut it to 5. This is Smith. Goes up at the top. He buries it. Kelvin Smith has 9.
Irv, the crowd is both a blessing and a curse to Idaho. Idaho is having a very difficult time calling the plays from the bench, despite the fact that they're signaling. Monson gets up to call something, the players cannot hear him because of the crowd.
Big bucket by Stokes. He's got an opportunity to make a 3-point play. Look at the bounce. You point out, George, how the momentum has changed. Smith fouls Stokes, and look at the ball bounce around. It's not a good shot. It hits the front of the rim, but Iowa's getting some breaks now. They
look
can
at the
cut
jubilation
this down.
of the players.
And, George, they are very excited. They can cut this thing down to 4. Steve Carfino sitting on the bench with 4 fouls.
Okay, Irv.
this is what I said to you earlier. They've got to get that ball inside and create those three-point opportunities, and the pressing situation has also been evident in the second half.
Ray Meyer getting all he wants from Boston College. He's got a great superstar, and Terry Cummings leads by 1.
You know, Irv, you talk about people being rumored for jobs. There's a guy, Tom Davis, that's very highly thought of. His name is mentioned for a lot of jobs. Wisconsin, Stanford.
Idaho suddenly has gone cold. Hansen gets the board. They can cut it to 2, George.
This guy they call Momentum. He has definitely moved over to Iowa's bench. The momentum is totally in their favor right now. And once again, they go inside, trying to create the three-point opportunity, and Stokes is at the line.
And that's the way to play the game, George. You give the decisions to the officials. Right now, Idaho's getting buried inside. They'll make a substitution. This is a guy who's gone against you a little bit. Pete Prigge, a 6'7" forward out of Vancouver, Washington, comes in for Smith. And Prigge's got to do some good work inside because Stokes has had his own way the last 2 minutes.
Herb, I wouldn't be surprised to see Don Monson make an adjustment and take some pressure off the ball at the top of the circle and drop that guard at the top of the circle back a little bit.
Look at Jack Hartman, gets 1 a year. Last year he knocked off Ralph Miller's ball club. This year it's 87. The lead is down to 2 as Stokes gets a pair. Full court pressure once again by Iowa.
Trap! Oh, great job by Iowa there. Great job.
Boy, that is excellent pressure. Lute Olson is up. He's got his club and foul. Look at the bench. Iowa's cut it to 2, 42-40 with 14-17 left in Pullman, Washington. The Vandals need a bucket. We'll be back. A look at the Iowa cheerleaders as they are trying to ramp up now. Irv Brown and George Raveling with you from Pullman, Washington. And George, we've got a dandy. Full court pressure has cut this lead to 2.
That's true, and they're doing a great job of double teaming in there. Offensively, they're going inside consistently with the ball now, looking for the three-point plays, and momentum is definitely on the side of Iowa right now.
We got a good shot of Lute Olson, who's got his ball club back in it. This is a class coach. Has won 20 ball games, 5 out of the last 6 years.
If you're Idaho now, I think you've got to look to shut off that pass going inside their zone to the postman. I would drop that guard back inside and make them prove they can hit that shot up at the top of the zone.
Once again, they turn it over. Iowa can tie. Idaho has lost their composure.
Idaho's offense doesn't have the cohesiveness that it had in the first half right now. Iowa's got them going hully-gully out here.
All right, here's the foul on Payne as he picks up one over the back. Payne went up for the jumper, a little long off the rim. Picks one up, that's number 2.
That's
5 team fouls.
Iowa, despite the fact that they're only 2 down, they continue to put the full court pressure on.
There's a guy you talked about earlier, Tennessee Chattanooga. Arnold's got the lead over Jimmy Dutton.
5 seconds. There's a double team again. Oh, boy.
Another turnover. Don Munson can't believe it on the Idaho bench. That is 9 turnovers for a ball club that normally takes care of the basketball.
This is what we talked about at halftime, that Iowa had to go to a pressure defense.
There's the guy who can ring the bell, ties it up. Bobby Hansen did it against Northeast Louisiana on Friday night. We're tied at Pullman, Washington. Hansen had 19 the other night against Northeast Louisiana. Today, Hansen has 6, but that was a big bucket.
Idaho's trying to get organized now. Their guards settling them down. There they go, looking for the lob pass.
At one time, this ball club was up by 12. Now they're in trouble. Herbert goes up for the jumper. Nothing going right for Idaho. This time they do get the bounce. Herbert gets it back. This is Owens. This is Kellerman, a quality jump shooter. Can't get it.
Idaho's not getting any second shots at the basket this half.
Kenny Arnold. Arnold has the basketball, directing traffic. They want to go inside. There's Stokes. There's Boyle. He's inside. Can't get the shot off. Arnold with the jumper. Misses. Idaho has the basketball. This is Kellerman. They look tentative, George. They just do not look like the same ball club we saw. The fans are trying to get them going, but they're not the same ball club we saw in the first half. They had it all their own way. They led by as many as 12. Iowa has fought back. Here's the foul inside on Kenny Arnold.
Iowa's outscored them 19-9.
Kenny Arnold picks up his second foul, 16 foul on the Hawkeyes. That's going to be a big statistic. Here's Steve Carfino coming back in. Alabama, Wim Sanderson's ball club leads Luke Carnesecca's 41-32. All right, Steve Carfino back in, George. Is this the right time to come with a guy with 4 fouls?
Boy, it's a big gamble, but I'm sure Luke knows better than I how to play his personnel.
The Hawkeyes were able to come back with Carfino sitting out. Iowa's still in a man, even though they inbounded the ball. A lot of team zone.
All right, they're running their 5-man passing game now. They'll screen down on the wings and pick across. There it is. Screen down on the wings and pick across.
Boyle now is on Owens. And once again, Iowa goes up with some decent defense. Stokes picks up the foul, but the shot doesn't go down, George. That's number 4 on Stokes, so Iowa in serious foul trouble. The big statistic on the board, that's a 17 foul on the Hawkeyes, only 2 for the Vandals.
That could be a very crucial situation here as we move toward the midway part of the second half.
And I got it on Munson. Wouldn't be afraid to sit on the basketball. We get to the 7-minute mark, maybe the 6-minute mark if that foul count remains the same. Hobson buries both of them. The Vandals by 2, 44-42 with 11:58 remaining. This is Payne up top. He's a good passer. Goes underneath the Stokes. He gets hit by Kellerman. Look at this strategy, George. Payne, who is 6'10", and has great vision, throwing the basketball over little Owens. Goes inside, and you take it.
Okay, it's a good move. He didn't put the ball on the floor, which is intelligent. He's got a mismatch there. He's got a good 3 inches on the youngster guard him in there, Hobson.
That's 3 on Kellerman. Stokes will shoot a pair. He's 2 for 4. Gets the first one. Look at this.
How about that, huh? Boy, that Tom Davis, how about him for a candidate for Coach of the Year nationally?
All right, the second one's no good. They battle for the rebound. Idaho and Hobson come down with it. And here's a silly foul by Kevin Boyle. That's number 4. That is really going to hurt this ball club. All right, here's Kevin Boyle.
That's really unfortunate.
Kevin Boyle has picked up number 4. He'll sit it out for a while. Hanson back in.
Irv, right now you've got to give the edge to Idaho if for no other reason than the team foul situation. You got Carfino sitting on the floor with 4. You got Boyle with 4 and Stokes with 4. Boy, that's going to down the stretch. And we got a long time to go. We're getting almost 12 minutes here.
Owens has been perfect from the line, continues to be perfect, 9 out of 9.
At this point, maybe Luke looks at a zone. They're not the margin's such that he can afford to play a little zone here and maybe buy a little time offensively off the clock now. Try to keep the game in perspective for himself. They're 3 points down. Buy a little time defensively. Let's look at a zone every now and then.
I think it makes good sense. They're trying to go inside once again to Stokes. Payne is at the top, a very unusual maneuver, but one that I really agree with. This is Arnold. They're looking inside for Payne. There's the pick. Here comes Hanson. This is Carfino, the crowd trying to take them out of their offense, and they do. The deflection goes against Idaho. Iowa will inbound it. 11:18 remaining.
Lute Olson wasn't too happy with that pass. Then he wanted them to show a little more patience.
On the wing, it goes up to the crowd, George.
The one thing, Irv, about the fouls, here's a replay.
Stokes will crash from the outside. There he is. I think he
went over top of Owens. There's no question about that. The one thing that you have to give the Iowa players credit for is that they're playing with an awful lot of aggressiveness. They're hustle fouls.
The wrong man to foul. Kenny Owens is perfect from the line, 10 of 10. All right, Lute Olson has to go to the bench, and he'll bring off the bench number 30. And young kids are foul prone.
Oh, yes. He played a fine game for a freshman. He's going to be you're going to hear a lot about him down through the next 3 years.
Look at this. Payne almost went up and took it off the rim, laid off. Owens was supposed to make that shot because it stays in.
Look at the composure of Owens. When that thing laid up there in the rim, he never changed expression, just like he knew it was going to fall back in. Never changes expression on the court.
5-point lead for the Vandals. Owens gets them both. 12 out of 12 from the line. Anderson at the top. This is Carfino. They're still trying to go inside the paint. This is Hansen. Carfino goes up, and there's a foul on Herbert.
And Priggy. I think they call that one on 24.
All right, so that is the first foul. I stand corrected. Larry Lembo out of the ECAC makes the call. Only the 4th team foul. Idaho a long way from being into the bonus. That is having Iowa in the bonus. So the ball will be inbounded by Arnold.
Irv, one of the Iowa assistants called Kenny Arnold over and pointed out to him that on the weak side of the floor they have a guy open constantly if they'll skip past the ball.
Boy, that's an excellent move inside by Hansen as he hooked Herbert. Got him on the left side, used a simple little move that the officials didn't see. There's Don Munson. This ball club had all the momentum in the world, doing things very well in the first half, and now they're in trouble. They lead by 5, but Iowa's been coming on.
Now you know why he doesn't have much hair up there.
Well, because he takes after his idol, Judd Heathcote.
Hey, I tell you what, Judd's a hell of a coach.
Judd Heathcote, Michigan State. Don Munson was a high school coach, a little older.
You know,
Heathcote tapped him and took him with him.
Talking about Judd, he's got to feel awfully proud. He's got Munson here at Iowa. He's got Brandenburg at Wyoming.
Well, that's a big move. They get the first free throw down, keep it alive. Anderson goes up, misses badly. And Idaho controls 48-44. You're pointing out about Brandenburg.
Judd Heathcote's assistants are all doing very well at the schools where they are right now. And they're all doing it with that matchup zone. He's got Bill Berry at
Hobson. And what has happened to Idaho's shooting?
It's a big possession here for Iowa.
This is Anderson to Carfino. They're looking inside. They've had great success inside. Idaho unable to handle them. This is Carfino. Pretty smart kid. Goes up from the top. No good. Big rebound for Hobson. 9:56 remaining. The Vandals by 4. This is Owens. They shot very poorly in the last 5 minutes. Down the middle, penetrates. Got a puppy. He misses it. Look at this. And they can't get one. They can't buy a shot. Don Munson just shakes his head, George. Their shooting percentage has got to be atrocious the last 5 minutes. We've got a timeout here in Pullman, Washington. 48-44 in favor of Idaho.
Get into the spirit with the NCAA Championship and CBS Sports. Watch as the drama unfolds and all roads lead to New Orleans and the crowning of #1 here on CBS Sports.
We're back in Pullman, Washington. This is the Iowa cheerleaders, a long way from Iowa City. Irv Brown, George Raveling with you. The shooting percentages tell the story, George. Idaho has cooled off 39%. The other side of the coin, Iowa 46%. And that's been the difference along with pressure by the Hawkeyes. 4-point lead. We're back live. This is Kenny Owens with a basketball. Carfino has 4. Boyle sitting it out with 4. This is Kellerman.
Okay, now they're in their 5-man passing game offense. They'll screen down on the wings and pick across. There it is.
They need a very crisp maneuver right here. They've got to get some movement, get it back.
Okay, Monson changed the offense. He just called 2.
12 with the basketball is Kellerman. The new player in is number 24. That's Pete Priggy. This is Owens. Back out to Kellerman, who's now playing the top.
Kellerman told Owens, he says, come here and get the ball.
Inside, they want to go to Hobson. Good defense by Anderson.
Yeah, now Iowa's now fronting the post. Uh-oh, he lost his man in there.
Hobson gets hammered by Payne. They gave up the baseline, and Lou Olson is livid. Lou Olson is just livid as they give up the baseline, a no-no. As a result, that's 3 fouls on Payne. Hobson at the line.
What happened there, Irv? There was a baseline screen, and Anderson lost vision of his man. He came out of the weak side of the floor and was wide open.
There's the DePaul score. They're still down to Tom Davis's Boston College Club by 3. Hobson gets the second one. Hobson now has 15, 5 of 6 from the line. 50-44 is our score. This is Arnold looking inside for Payne. Anderson at the top. They double up on Hansen. Carfino puts one up. Looks good. It is. Carfino buries one. Steve Carfino, here's a layup and a great play by Payne. Payne came from out of nowhere to take away a layup as Idaho had the break.
Iowa looks a little tired to me right now. I don't know if that full court press took a lot out of them or not, but they're not getting back as quick on defense now as they were earlier.
Plus, they are missing Mark Gannon, unable to play today. We talked about it at the top. They've already lost Stokes with 5 fouls. Boyle has 4. Carfino has 4. Here's the goal to the hole. Payne picks up number 4.
Anderson is hurting them defensively in there right now. They're having a great difficulty defensing the baseline screen. Anderson loses vision of his man, and by the time he finds him, he's in position to receive the basketball.
Idaho is 3 of 11 this half. Iowa 9 of 13, but the Hawks have serious foul problems. On the other side of the coin, Idaho only has 5 team fouls. They're all important in the second half. Bill Hobson, 19 today. This is again.
Those are 2 big misses there. Got a chance to shut this thing down to 2 right here. Great job. Intelligent offense can take the ball down court, immediately go inside, give yourself an opportunity for a 3-point play.
And the seldom used youngster Anderson picks up his 6th point. Here they are on the run. Kenny Arnold can go to the hole as well as anybody. Goes up. It's a foul. The basket is good. Larry Lembo has the correct call. To the hole is Arnold. Good position, George.
Here's a replay here. Okay, he's going to take it to the hole now. There's Kellerman established in position. He's got his 2 feet on the ground as he goes up. No question about it. There might be some question as to whether he released the ball before he made contact, but there's no question that Kellerman had his 2 feet on the ground, had established position.
George, do you like the NBA rule where if you shoot and charge, you take it away, or do you like the college rule?
I like the college rule.
Kellerman's 7th point. Arnold has 3 fouls. Timeout as Don Munson wants to talk some things over. His ball club leads by only 1. Our score is 51-50 with 7:53 remaining in Pullman, Washington. Individual person. Irv Brown, George Raveling, glad to be with you from Pullman, Washington. Boy, we've got a dandy. Idaho leads Iowa 51-50. With 7:53 remaining in the ball game.
Here's a personal foul situation. Payne's got 4 for Iowa. Boyle's got 4, and Carfino's got 4.
Another miss for Kellerman. Idaho, for the first time in the ball game, may be down after this time down the floor.
This could be Iowa's first chance to go ahead in the ball game right here.
This is Payne at the top. He's been very effective there.
Inside they go with it. There it is. Iowa goes ahead for the first time in the ball game. Don Monson's going to come back with Smith. He grabbed him and put him in right away.
We'll guarantee you one thing, George Raveling. If Idaho doesn't get a bucket this time down the floor, Lute will go to his delay game because of the foul problem. I'll bet my paycheck on this one.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think you certainly got to consider that.
This Idaho down for the first time. They appear to be losing confidence the last 5 minutes. Their passes have not been crisp. They haven't shot well. They really need a morale builder right now. They got to go to the guy who brought him to the dance. Right here, number 14. Let him penetrate. Get the ball to Owens. There's Owens. Arnold has 3.
Kenny Arnold is doing an excellent job of trying to deny the ball to Owens. Once Owens gives up the ball, Arnold is working very desperately not to let him get the ball back. There he is, number 5.
There's Don Munson. And his reaction.
Here's Don Monson's reaction on that play.
The 5th foul for Steve Carfino. Kevin Boyle has been sitting it out week 4. He'll come back in the action. Idaho's got a very few free throws, and that's what Don Munson is telling his people. Steve Carfino played an excellent basketball game.
He did a fine job for him. I know he's disappointed. He's got his head wrapped in that towel there, but he doesn't have anything to be ashamed of.
Carfino with 8 points. Here's Kevin Boyle, also has 4 fouls, and this guy doesn't know how to go anyway, but full bore. Look at this, George. A big upset in the NCAA. Tennessee Chattanooga is winning 57-53. Kellerman gets the first one. Kellerman has 8. He still has 8. Payne throws it away. Payne cannot handle it. The ball hits the support. And Lute Olson just leans back. Those are the things that coaches just go crazy about.
You know, you get down on late stage of the game now, a team foul situation. Idaho still got one to give. Everything's 1-1 the other way.
5 team fouls on Idaho. Iowa has picked up a bunch. Everybody on this ball club in foul trouble. Carfino has fouled out. Stokes has fouled out. Payne with 4. Boyle with 4. Arnold with 3.
Okay, they're going to run play 5. They called it. There it is. 5-man passing game.
Lute Olson, I really felt would have moved to his delay game if he could have gotten the lead. Michael Payne unable to come up with that rebound. There goes Smith inside. He gets fouled. Payne is gone. Smith goes to the hole. That's 5 on Michael Payne.
Okay, here goes Smith. I'm not sure there was a foul on that, Irv. I didn't see a foul on that play right there.
If you're an Iowa fan, you very definitely have a case right here. Here's Smith.
I don't see a foul on this play.
You judge for yourself at home. This is Payne. Goes up. I see some contact from this angle.
Well, I tell you, that's a tough way to make a living.
All right, Michael Payne becomes the 3rd Hawkeye to foul out.
When Idaho runs the 5-man passing game, the baseline screen has constantly given Iowa credit. They have not been able to adjust. What I would think that Iowa would want to do is switch that baseline screen because they're not able to stay in a single man-to-man coverage on it. So I would think they'd switch that.
Jerry Denard is a replacement, has not played in the NCAA Tournament. Did not see any action against Northeast Louisiana. He's a 6'9 junior. Smith completes the 3-point play. Smith has 12. Idaho leads by 3 with 6:19 remaining. Anderson has done a good job offensively, has had some defensive problems. He's the cutter now. This is Hansen, the guy who's going to have to take over. He does not have foul problems. 6:09 remaining. There's the shot by the kid they just put in, Denard. Denard picks up his first bucket in the NCAA Tournament. His ball club trails by 1.
He's a junior college transfer from Merced Junior College in California. You know, Lute's roots are out there in California. He coached junior college basketball in California.
5:47 remaining. The Vandals clean to a 1-point lead. This is Kellerman. This is Hobson back at the top for Kellerman. Owens is trying to work the wing now.
They're still running that 5-man passing game.
Good defense by the Hawkeyes. Despite the foul problems, they are playing tenacious defense.
Oh, you got to admire the way they're playing defense out there.
Look at this, George, a turnover. Kelvin Smith travels in front of Don Munson.
I think he steps on his foot. He does. He stepped on his foot, and that created the walk right there.
The sharp eye of George Raveling, a basketball coach who has been refereeing for years. Kenny Arnold with the ball. They're looking inside. Boyle will be the key man inside now. Denard buried one the last time down. This is Arnold. Hansen, the other good shooter, is on the left wing. There goes Denard. He isn't bashful. Bad shot. He throws up a brick, and Lute Olson is living.
Boy, I tell you what, that you had to think they could come up with a better shot than that. Okay, here they go. Delay game. 4:54 to go.
Arnold has 3 fouls. He'll be called upon to guard Kenny Owens, who is cat quick. This is Kellerman. They can't get together. They'll double up. Iowa does this pretty good. They're a proud team.
Defensively here, Irv, what I would think you'd want to do is keep the ball on one side of the floor, drop your post man off in the lane to help out, keep the ball on that one side of the floor. And that's exactly... That's Smith with the ball right now. Kellerman resetting it.
And Smith is twice as quick as Denard. You saw that on that exchange. So I got to believe if you need an outlet. There's Lute Olson in the inset. Lute's ball club amazingly is only down 1 with everybody sitting out with foul trouble. Almost a steal by Boyle, or else in foul trouble. This is Boyle. This is Hansen.
I think Iowa's got to remain patient. Don't panic and foul them here. Stay patient. Stay patient.
Look at
there
this.
It is. There it is.
Denard, the seldom used substitute, picks up the deflection. Iowa can take the lead. They need a good shot. Lute Olson wants a timeout.
Very good timeout there.
Excellent timeout. The last time, George, they came down and threw up a brick as Denard took a bad shot. Lute Olson wants a good shot. I gotta believe now he'll go to Hansen, who's a money player. He's a good shooter. His ball club is down by 1. I would have to think that they'll go to Hansen on the wing, possibly look inside for Boyle.
I got to think at the timeout, Lute Olson is saying, number one, can we exercise some more patience? Can we continue to probe the zone, see if we can put the ball inside? We've had success the entire second half getting the ball inside. Let's see if we can't continue to go with what's brought us and put us back in the ball game. Defensively, how do we want to handle that baseline screen that's giving us problems in there? And Arnold, we want you to continue to deny that ball to Owens once he gives it up in there. Another thing, we don't want to foul Owens. He's a money foul shooter in there. Right now, I think he's about 10 for 10 from the foul line.
Once again, Tennessee Chattanooga leading Minnesota out of the Big Ten. The Big Ten champs, the team that beat Iowa in that crucial ball game. 59-57 is the score. There's a Kelvin Smith man. Looking ahead, George, if Iowa can get the lead and get the possession the next time down the floor, will Idaho come out of that zone and play man?
I don't think that they will. They still got one team foul to give too.
An excellent point. Carpino has fouled out. Stokes has fouled out. Boyle has scored. 3:52 left. Payne is fouled out. Our shooting percentages, Idaho 42, Iowa 49. The rebounds are 13 to 10 in favor of Idaho. This is Denard. He's 1 for 2, threw up a brick the last time down. This is Anderson at the point. They're looking for Hansen. Hansen is going inside. There's Denard. There's Hansen underneath. Good defense by Idaho. Arnold brings it back to the point. This is Boyle. Not a particularly good shooter. This is Hansen, the one they want to shoot. He can't get it. Boyle keeps it alive. This is Hansen. To Anderson, wisely does not shoot the basketball. Arnold can shoot. He passes.
What they do is they start Hansen low and then pop them high, see? And they're having difficulty picking that up in the zone defense in there.
Denard can't get it. They keep it alive. Anderson's got a bucket.
Oh.
The ball does not go down. Anderson is fouled.
He's got Boyle and Hansen over there now. He's trying to make an adjustment in that zone offense now.
Hobson picks up the foul, and it's all on the shoulders of a youngster by the name of Craig Anderson. Has played very little. He averages 2.4 a game. A sophomore from Madison, Wisconsin. Anderson has looked good offensively. Has 8 points today. Let's see if he can pick up a couple and give his ball club the lead. The first one is good.
John Monson's trying to signal what offense he wants there. Watch for the. I would look to see here if Iowa's going to press in this situation here or not. Kenny Arnold just asked Lute if he wanted to press.
All right, they keep it alive. Denard, another
very timely rebound
keeps
there.
It alive. We're tied at 55. What does Lute Olson want? He wants to bring him out of it right here, George.
He's going to bring him out of the zone. They're going 4 corners.
All right, here's the rule now. You got 10 seconds to get out with 2 people aggressively.
They're coming out.
There they are. If you don't get out with it,
no, they're going to play a half-court zone trap. They're going 1-2-1-1 half-court trap here. They're trying to give the appearance of a man-to-man, but it's a zone trap. I would think Iowa would want to go 2-1-2 right here.
All right, timeout to Iowa, as there was excellent pressure on Boyle on the sideline. So we have a dandy here, tied at 55 with 2:28 remaining in Pullman, Washington. We'll be back. We're tied at 55 in Pullman, Washington. One of the most important statistics, George, for all coaches. Iowa has 1 timeout left, Idaho 3.
Boy, that could be very important here. The next one's 1-1 for Iowa. Now, Idaho's sitting at 16 fouls here. Irv, let's see if Iowa picks up the fact that Idaho is in a 1-2-1-1 half-court trap and not a man-to-man. I would think that they're going to go 2-1-2 against this. That would be the logical thing.
Well, so where are you weak then, George? At the top?
In the corners. In the corners. If you can get the ball at a high post. See, they don't have a high post man. This is going to hurt them, I believe. They don't have a high post man. They're putting the ball where it can be trapped.
Some inexperienced ball handlers.
They've got to go 2-1-2 here.
I got to believe Lou will go for the last shot or the foul. He's in serious foul trouble. They kick it out of bounds. Iowa retains possession. We're into the 2-minute mark. 1:59 remaining. Iowa and Idaho tied. Don Munson wants a timeout with 1:59 remaining. There's Don Munson. Done such a tremendous job here at Idaho. He had this ball club playing so well early. They're 26-2. They have not played well in the second half. They're hanging on by a thread.
Don Munson, I think he's saying to himself now that we want to stay with the half-court trap. If they continue to penetrate and pass the ball, then I lose time on the clock. Do I want to come out and pressure a man-to-man, or do I want to stay with the half-court trap? Lute Olson's got to be saying to himself now, what kind of offensive structure do we want to be in? Under what conditions do we want to take the shot? And I think he also wants to tell them, hey, fellas, we've got one timeout left. Let's save it. On the other hand, Don Munson's saying, fellas, we've got 3 timeouts. We can afford to waste one if we have to. Here's what I want you to do offensively if we get the rebound. Here's what we're going to do if we score. And I think both coaches now are trying to set the scene, not only for this possession, but maybe for the next 2 or 3 possessions.
All right, the teams are coming back out now. It is tied at 55. Minnesota now is taking the lead over Tennessee, Chattanooga. Indiana out of the Big Ten has been eliminated. Ohio State eliminated. Minnesota in serious trouble. Here, the other Big Ten team is in a real barn burner with Idaho, the Vandals from Moscow. This is Arnold, and they have to use the 5th timeout. Kenny Arnold must call a timeout. Lute Olson has got to be thinking about something that happened a year ago, George. They called a 6th timeout in the Wichita game. At that time, of course, the 6th timeout, you can get it, but it costs you 2 shots, a technical foul. You got to tell your kids we are out of timeouts. Do not call a timeout. It cost them the ball game last year.
If I'm Don Munson, I got to be very happy. I'm very pleased about my inbound pressure defense there. We didn't steal the ball, but we got another plus factor. We got Iowa now in a situation with no timeouts, 1:58 left in the game, 55-55. I got to think that the 3 timeout situation is definitely going to help Idaho down the stretch in here.
And here's where the bench coach comes in. There's an excellent one sitting on the Hawkeye bench. He's very good. He's very patient. He's very cool. He's got to set up all of his strategy now because he isn't going to get a chance to talk to his people again, possibly. Idaho now is in the driver's seat as far as timeouts. We're tied at 55.
The one thing that, even though they have no more timeouts left, that's going to work in Iowa's favor is Kevin Boyle and Arnold. They're both veteran players, both extremely intelligent basketball players. They'll take charge out there, especially Boyle. Now, if I'm Idaho here, I'm looking to try to draw a charge.
All right, we'll see what happens. The clock says 1:58. We thought there was 1:59. It stands. Here's Arnold under tremendous pressure. Anderson has the basketball. They will go for the last shot or the foul. This is Arnold.
They're still in that half-court trap. I'm a little surprised they're not going 2-1-2 against this.
We're down to 142. This is Hansen.
They've got to put a post man in there. They've got to get somebody in the middle of the floor.
Denard and Anderson are staying out of it, not handling the basketball. It's the veterans, Hansen, Arnold, and Boyle. There's Denard. He is not a good ball handler. He hasn't played that much. And there's the foul. Hobson picks up this foul. Denard going to the line. But one kid, if you're going to foul somebody.
That's that bad a foul, I'll be honest with you.
Well, if you're going to foul somebody, this is a kid to foul. He hasn't played much. Blocking foul. Denard goes to the line. That's 3 on Hobson.
Don Munson's down the end of the bench walking around. I know it's driving him nuts.
Jerry Denard averages 1 point a game. Has not shot a free throw today. There it is. It looks good. It's long. Idaho has the basketball. They'll get the last shot.
Don Munson walked to the end of the bench then and did not look at that foul. He turned his back to the basket and refused to look at that foul shot.
So the foul by Hobson pays off. There's Kellerman, and he buries it. They do not go for the last shot. Kellerman buries it. That's his 10th point of the game. Idaho by 2.
Olson's telling them, settle it down, settle it down.
No timeouts left for the Hawkeyes. They've got to come down and get a shot on their own. This is like the 2-minute offense in football now. No timeouts left. Hansen is the shooter, going to the baseline. He wants a shot. He's cut off by Kellerman. Arnold, we're down to 43 seconds. Listen to this crowd. This is Arnold. There's the guy you want to shoot right there.
He's going for the three-point play, too.
Hansen picks up the bucket. 32 seconds.
Instead of going for the jump shot, he penetrated, tried to get the three-point play.
Don Munson wants timeout. 27 seconds left. We're tied at 57. Boy, we have had ourselves a dandy. Georgia looked like a runaway in the first half. Wasn't to be the case. Who is going to take the last shot now for Idaho? What is Iowa going to do?
I would think that Monson will try to set up a jump shot for Kellerman, maybe coming off a double screen along the baseline at a given point. Now, what Don's got to say to himself, and I'm sure he's saying this, is do we want to go for the shot early and leave ourselves enough time if we miss to still have another opportunity to score, or do we want to hold for the last shot and if we miss, go overtime? And that's a tough decision for him to make here. Luke doesn't have any timeouts left, but he got a break here, I think, by Idaho calling timeout, because now he's got a chance to get himself organized in there.
Absolutely. This is NCAA basketball. We'll be in New Orleans. You're going all the way with CBS. We got a dandy here in the West. Idaho and Iowa tied at 57.
I don't think you want to foul Kenny Owens in this situation. Maybe Don will create an offensive situation that will allow Kellerman or Owens to handle the ball and go for the shot, thinking if they get fouled, he's got his two better foul shooters on the line.
And George, you make the point. You shoot early enough to get an offensive rebound, because most ball games are won on offensive rebound. Here we go. 26 seconds. Kenny Arnold. Look at this. I was in the zone. It's a matchup.
They're in the zone.
Look at this. Don Munson is taking a look now. This isn't what he figured on. They're a little confused. They need a timeout.
Okay, he told them to hold it. That was a set situation there, Irv, because Don was looking at the clock and so was Owens. And evidently he told him at 13 seconds to call timeout again. And if I'm not mistaken, that leaves Idaho with one timeout left.
They are out of timeout.
They are out of timeouts.
And it becomes so crucial because in the back of Iowa's mind, it has to be that sixth timeout a year ago. You just got to tell your kids, we are out of timeouts. The same way for Idaho. And there's so much excitement here. It sounds like an easy fundamental to execute. It isn't all that easy. There's the time, 12 seconds remaining. You know the guy that's easy to get open, George, is the guy who passes the basketball in. Possibly we will see that. I got to believe they'll go to Kellerman for a jump shot, or else Owens to penetrate and dish off.
I'm gonna tell you this. It's not as easy as one would think to inbound the ball from the sideline. And if I were Iowa here, if I were going to play man-to-man, I would try to look for possibly a charging situation here if it arose. The one thing that Iowa's got to be concerned about, if Idaho shoots the ball and misses, they've got to quickly get the ball up court, because they have no timeouts left, and they've got to go 90 feet with it if they get the rebound.
You know, George, one problem, though, if you do try and draw a charge, officials really do not let it be decided in the end by a foul. That means you're playing 4 on 5. Here we go. This is Owens. Iowa back in that zone. It's a matchup. The guy who's open now is Herbert. They'll give it to Herbert. They don't want Kellerman to have it. There's Owens from the side. Did he win it? Smith goes up. Very good.
That's the game. That's the game.
Is it good? Is it good or not?
It's after the clock.
I'll tell you what.
Basket. There's no basket.
We're going to take another look. 4 seconds.
Here it is. We got it right here on television. There's no basket.
All right, this is a shot by
Here
Owens.
it is.
There's a shot by Owens. We're down to 2. We're down to 1. There's no time left. Right there, the shot is no good.
No time.
The correct decision by the timekeeper.
That was an excellent call by the timekeeper. There was no time. We have it on the replay.
All right, there's the controversy, but there's no controversy.
You're right. You're right.
The officials did a good job.
There's
and you know,
no
I'll tell you, George, we had a situation come up in Hawaii in the Western Athletic Conference where the official, Denny Bishop, went over and checked. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No,
Let's take a look one
here
more
it is,
time.
right here. Here it is.
We're going to go overtime, which is the correct way this thing should be decided.
Right. He's not even into his full shooting motion when the clock's at 0. Here it is. Okay, now he's going to rebound the ball. Now the clock goes to 0. He hasn't even shot the ball yet. He has not even shot the ball yet, and it's at 0.
So, from the Western region, here's the guy under the gun, and hey, you think timekeepers have an easy job? George, George, is this the timekeeper?
Yeah, he's looking at the replay on the television monitor there, and there's no question of doubt about it.
So we'll decide it in overtime. And once again, the advantage has got to be with Idaho because of the foul problems that we have with Iowa. Here's the final, George. Look at this. Upset time. Boston College knocks off DePaul. Once again, Ray Meyer fails to get out of the early going to the regional. Right here, it's 57-57. 5 minutes in overtime. We will throw the ball up for a jump ball. That's the way you handle it in college basketball at the beginning.
Except in the Pac-10.
Except in the Pac-10. And we had a triple overtime with you this year, George, and you had to correct me on the rule.
That's nothing new.
Well, you talk about the rule book. I'm waiting for the movie. I didn't like the book.
Boy, this turned out to be one heck of a basketball game here.
Don Munson disappointed. Lute Olson relieved. We're going overtime. Jimmy McDaniel out of Dallas, Texas will throw it up. A lot of pressure on Denard. A lot of pressure on Anderson. I thought they did tremendous work. Idaho shooting 42%. 48% for the Hawkeyes. We're ready. Here we go. And the early advantage to Idaho. George, do you hold it now? Do you look for the bucket? This is where the cat and mouse really comes into play.
Kellerman's looking at Monson right now to look and see what he wants to do. He says, bring him out. Monson says, bring him out.
All right, they'll hold it. And will Iowa come out? They'll have to come out so they don't get a technical foul, but are they going to come out tough? Inside now. Smith, the guy who buried one at the end and he wasn't good, gives us off of a 2-point lead. This is Boyle. They're backing off. They're trying to take away the inside from Denard. Here's the guy I want to go to, Hanson.
Skip past the Boyle. Great shot fake in there.
This is Anderson. They got a wide open. There it is.
Excellent ball movement there. Wonderful shot fake by Boyle. One of the more intelligent players playing the game up here in this tournament.
George, they collapsed the zone and they kicked it out to Arnold. He was wide open. Excellent movement by Lute Olson's club.
And one of the first times a few times in the game that Iowa has skipped past the ball.
Oh my goodness! Did they count the basket? Because it is a charge.
Oh, Don Monson's coming unglued in here.
All right, we'll take a look.
Don Monson better watch he doesn't get a technical here.
All right, it's a good call. The ball was not out of his hand. Larry Lembo makes a gut call. That's 5 on Smith. It's a great call, George. Normally you shoot and charge. In this case, he charged and then shot. It's the correct call. At the line is Anderson. The kid had tremendous position. Idaho is up 61-59. Smith is fouled out. That means they will shoot Craigie. What a gut call by Larry Lembo.
Boy, I tell you what, Don Monson was pretty close to getting a technical in.
And I thought the official did a good job walking away and going to the middle of the floor and letting him cool off. Why decide it with a T? There's Munson. You got to believe he's got more at stake than official. There's Lembo out of Queens, New York. He's worked the final. All right, Anderson has done a good job offensively. He has 9 points. He's 1 out of 2 at the line. Misses as he shot into a sea of waving Vandal fans. A 2-point lead still for Iowa, and now Idaho's got to come out and play some defense. They can't be passive. They're down 2, 3:44 remaining. This is Owens. Kellerman.
Okay, they run the set play now.
This is Craigie, the newcomer. If you're going to foul somebody, that would be the guy to foul. He hadn't touched the basketball, and he isn't sweating. Kellerman, very reliable, very intelligent.
All right, they're in a 5-man passing game. Screen down on the wings, screen across underneath. And this is an offense that's given Iowa some trouble, especially the baseline screen.
Arnold wants to force Owens to his left, does so. This is Craigie. He handles it quickly, and they get rid of it. Craigie matching up with Denard, a couple of guys who don't play a lot. This is Hobson to Owens. We're down to 3 minutes.
They're going to be very patient.
Look at this, Denard in the passing lane, almost comes up with a steal, but he's slow. 2:53 and counting. This is Owens. Good movement by Idaho.
I look for Idaho to do one or two things, either back screen for a lob here or run a backdoor play, pulling the post man up high.
There they go inside to Hobson. Good collapses. Iowa had 3 people around him. We're down to 2:35. Kellerman with the basketball to Hobson.
Irv, with the pressure that Iowa was putting on the wings there, they're very susceptible to a backdoor play here.
This is Pragi. Look at this. Denard just misses. Kellerman to Hobson. 2:19. Idaho taking care of the basketball. There's Lute Olson. This ball club trails by 2. 3 starters have fouled out. 2 have 4 fouls.
You know, Irv, you talk about offensive patience, but guess what I was going to say? There's also such a thing as defensive patience. There's plenty of time here. You're 2 points down. Stay patient on the defensive end of the court. Play the passing lanes. Don't reach for the ball.
Lute Olson, what are his thoughts right now, George? What are you going through on the bench as you're down by 2 and the other team's at the line? What are you thinking? You've been in this situation.
I believe that Lute's trying to think ahead a couple moves here now and try to gather in his mind what he wants his team to do.
We agreed you got to go to either Arnold or Hansen here down at the other end because they are going to pack it in.
I think they've got to try to get the ball inside. Lute's telling them stay patient. Okay, he put Hansen inside. I think that they've got to try to go inside and look for the 3-point play here.
It's going to be tough. They're really packing it in. They will not give it to you inside. Here's Hansen. Goes to
There it is.
Got the baseline, but he couldn't get the shot. Boyle was fouled out. Kevin Boyle is out of here. Boy, that could be the one that breaks the camel's back. The straw right there. Kevin Boyle fouls out. Kevin Boyle, a great competitor. So Lute Olson has got to go to the bench again. They're talking over there on the sideline to Todd Birkenpass, a 6'2" guard, just a freshman. What pressure on this kid?
Hey, this kid coming in the game, his dad was a great basketball player.
He's in a very crucial situation. Iowa needs a miss at the line now by Hobson badly. Hobson's got to miss one to give Iowa a light. Idaho leads by 4, 1:50 remaining in the ballgame. Hobson is 5 out of 8. Points for Hobson. He's been the offensive star of the ballgame. Five-point lead for the Vandals. 21 for Hobson. Iowa's got to get a shot off fast, George. They're down 6.
I don't know that, Irv. I don't know. I still think they got to get the ball inside. Even though he hit that, I still think they got to create a 3-point play for themselves here.
Birkenpass picks up his first bucket. The lead is 4. This is Denard. They need a turnover. They got a layup. Oh, my goodness. Brady blows a puppy. Arnold on the run.
Is about to come unglued.
Ulster's coming through the coat. This is Anderson. This is Arnold. They're looking for Arnold. He pumps it up. It's short. The tip is good. Denard has cut the lead to 2. Denard has 4.
Oh, this Denard is really playing some kind of defense.
Denard, who is a step slow,
you know, for a 6'9" kid, he really plays good pressure defense. You watch him.
What a tap by Boyle. Pregi missed a puppy at the other end. Could cost his ball club. There's Pregi with the basketball. That's the guy you want to foul. If you do want to foul, this is
You don't want to foul Kellerman, I tell you that.
There it is.
No basket. No basket.
Look at this.
No basket.
A gut call by Larry Lembo. Brian Kellerman definitely picks up the charge. Denard doing it all. Gets in front, sacrifices the body. Here it is, George.
Here it is. You tell me this Denard's not a heck of a defensive player? Boy, oh boy. Hey, this kid's come up with 3 big plays for him here in the last 30 seconds.
Another view, George. Biggest play of the game. Denard stops the layup. The only chance they had. They were 3-on-1. What a play. What a gut call by Larry Lembo again.
We're looking at 65-63 here. Idaho's ahead, 1 minute to go.
Well, you want to take a look at some fans that are stunned. Instead of their ball club being up by 4, they're up by 2. Iowa can tie. Larry Lembo, this kid was a great basketball player in his own right. I tell you what, I wish he lived out west. I'd give him a job today. Trust me.
Irv, he's worked the NCAA
Yes, he has. Well, he had a gut call right there. He didn't go tender. Denard got it. Denard and the fans behind the bucket were going bananas. 4 out of 6 for Denard.
You don't think the people down in Merced are going wild? This kid played down there in junior college ball.
1 minute left. Denard can tie it up because Iowa has snapped up a 6-point lead. Idaho and Iowa tied in the far west, 65-65. This is Owens. This is Preggy. Preggy gets fouled by Denard, but it's a good foul, George. Preggy missed a layup. Got to be thinking about it. Preggy does not play a great deal. A lot of pressure on this kid. On the other side of the coin, Denard had a lot of pressure. He buried two. Let's see if Preggy can step up. This is what it's all about. He's a sophomore out of Vancouver, Washington. We have a timeout on the floor. Our score in Pullman, Washington, with 50 seconds remaining, 65-65, Iowa and Idaho. There's the story, George, with 50 seconds left. We're in overtime in Pullman, Washington. Irv Brown and George Raveling, glad to have you aboard. What's going through Pete Preggy's mind, the sophomore out of Vancouver, Washington? It's all on his shoulders. He's at the line for a 1-and-1, George.
Now, he came out of high school with the reputation of being a good shooter. I got to think that he's got a real good chance of making these here. The other thing was, I checked the Iowa bench during the timeout, and Lou was setting his offense, and I thought I read his lips, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him score and give him a little token press in here.
Here's the guy, maybe the most superstitious coach in the nation. If it isn't Don Haskins, seldom watches what goes on defense because he is superstitious. His ball club is tied. He's basically involved in a home court situation. The crowd has been behind him. Here's the shot.
Good rotation. And very good rotation on that shot then.
Is this something? Preggy and Denard, a couple of guys that didn't figure in this ball game and hung in there. They've done all you could ask them to do.
Monson took everybody off the foul line in for Idaho so that he doesn't pick up a cheap foul here. Excellent rotation on both shots.
Preggy has 2 points, but they're the biggest 2 points of the ball game. 67-65.
They're going to go to Hansen if they can get the ball inside to him.
A three-point play is a no-no if you're a Vandal fan. This is what they're looking for. They're underneath. He's got it. Preggy gets beat by Hansen. Hansen now has 11.
And they're going to the right man because Preggy is playing behind him, and he's not known as a good defensive player.
Are we looking at double OT? George Raveling, 24 seconds remaining. Lute Olson has used up all his timeouts.
I think that I heard Don Monson say hold to 14. Yeah, I heard him tell Kellerman hold to 14, so 15 seconds.
Well, he holds to 15 seconds. That's the story here in Pullman, Washington. Idaho and Iowa are tied at 67. Hansen got the inside on Preggy, hooked in, did a great job. Well, you talk about a well-coached ball club. We are seeing two of them today. Don Munson's ball club went cold. Ain't anything you can do about that, George. But he's had the strategy. Lute Olson has had the strategy. If there's a better game today in the country, I don't know where it is. I want to be right here unless it's in triple overtime for Villanova.
Irv, I think you hit a key point. The coaching has been magnificent in this game. You know, just when it looked like things were going to get away from Iowa, Lute adjusted his lineup. He went with the 4 forwards for a while when he was in foul trouble. Don Monson's done a great job. It's just been a super game of basketball.
I've got to ask you a very important question. Are you having fun?
Hey, love it. Loving every minute of it.
67-67. There's a look at our officials. They've done an excellent job. Larry Limbo with the basketball. Jim McDaniel, Ron Zetcher, the other stripes. The tools of the burglar hanging in there. It's tied in Pullman. Idaho will get the last shot unless there is a turnover.
I'll tell you one thing. There's 12,400 sweaty palms in this Coliseum right now.
I hope to tell you because these are basically Idaho fans. Some people from Iowa City have journeyed up. We're down to 13, 12.
1-2-2 zone by Iowa. 1-2-2 zone.
Our cameraman did a great job on the shot that was not good by Smith. We're down to 3. The shot. It is good.
on this one.
Look at the agonizing moment. Is it going to go down? Is Hobson going to tend the basketball? Basket interference. The ball bounces. It goes down.
And he got fouled on the play.
So Idaho has advanced to Provo. They'll be there next week. What a finish in overtime. Another look from this angle. Did he get hit?
We missed the angle. We couldn't see the foul, but he was definitely fouled on the arm.
Idaho has defeated Iowa 69-67. Here in Pullman, Washington, another look. Hobson goes up. He lays off it. Unbelievable finish. Oh, this is something else. We'll go to Brent Musburger back in New York.
Big game tonight, huh?
You gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Frank, I need this analysis before you leave.
When you've got an important deadline, you need a Honeywell office automation system. Using a desktop terminal, executives can organize data, analyze statistics, and get their work done. At Honeywell, we know how important it can be to meet a deadline. Honeywell, you should see what we do with computers.
So Idaho gets the bounce, and another Big Ten team bites the dust. Idaho now awaits the winner of Pepperdine, Oregon State. This region will go again on Thursday night in Provo, Utah. And, of course, Georgetown will play Fresno State in one of the confrontations out west. That will be the CBS national game. We will show that one live at 11:30 Eastern Time. But how about those Idaho Vandals? And, of course, the only Big Ten team now still surviving in the tournament is right down below in the Mideast region, where Minnesota eliminated Tennessee Chattanooga, and in that region they will now play Louisville, and of course Virginia will be matched against Alabama Birmingham, and that regional final will be played at Birmingham, and that is quite a story because of course Gene Bartow has put together a marvelous basketball team down there. He hopes to take his third different school to the Final Four. He has already been there with Memphis State and UCLA. Now he would like to get the Blazers there. But the supreme test will come against Virginia. Can he stop Ralph Sampson? Well, we're going to find out as the week progresses. But right now, let's go back to Irv Brown in Pullman. Irv?
We are back in Pullman, Washington. The final in overtime. Idaho 69, Iowa 67. These fans aren't too happy. Don Munson, was it set up that way? Was Kellerman going to take the last shot?
We went to the money man at the end. The time before, I ran a play, and no real set play. He was to penetrate, take the shot, or dish it off.
You played very well early. You really lagged for about 5 minutes, I thought, lost your tempo, and you were in a dogfight with a ball club that was in serious foul trouble.
Right, and take nothing away from them, you know. At the end, we had a much better ball club in there, and they still hung in there, and, you know, what can you say? Well, my kids hung in there, too.
The last shot before you went into overtime, you did a little politicking, but there wasn't any question about it. We saw it on the replay. Even George Raveling, who's a great referee, felt that it wasn't good.
Well, if George had been on the bench, he'd have been over there, too, I think.
I agree with Don. I would have been up on that. But if Don had seen the replay, Smith hadn't even picked the ball up in the shooting motion when the clock was at 0. But I agree with Don. If I were sitting in this spot, I'd have been all over the officials.
Yeah. Let's talk to Brian Kellerman. Brian, you put in the winner. I thought possibly your buddy Phil Hobson was going to goaltend it. I didn't know if it was going to drop. Your thoughts as you released it.
Well, as I released it, I didn't really know. I was just hoping to get up there close, go for a rebound, but it was bouncing around. Couldn't tell.
Take a look, Brian. You describe it.
Okay, right here. I thought Gordy was trapped. I didn't even think he was going to get the ball away. And right there, I thought it was a slap on the arm, kind of right there on the elbow. Yeah, but...
Get your elbow off that kid's arm. That's why it went in.
But it went in. This is kind of a suspense shot, I guess. Right there was close.
All right, Phil Hobson, come on in here now. You were up and you almost interfered with the basketball. If you'd have touched the basketball, I'm not sure what Coach Munson would have done to you.
Probably would have killed me. But I was waiting for it to come out. If it came out, I was going to throw it right back in.
Was Iowa everything you thought they would be, Phil?
Yeah, and tougher. I thought they played a great game in the second half. They gave us all we could handle. We just pulled it out then.
You're going to Provo, Utah. You're representing the Big Sky. A lot of people don't know much about the Big Sky. The competition's pretty tough.
There it is, and we have to prove it. We want to show them that there's more than just the Big Ten and Pac-10. We want to show them that it's Big Sky too.
All right, Don, you are going to advance to Provo, Utah. Your thoughts as you move on, or can you even think about it at this stage?
Well, we played Oregon State. We haven't played Pepperdine. I don't really want to play either one of them, but I'm glad we're playing one of them. It's, you know, this time it doesn't make any difference. Everything is tough. Everything is just unreal. We got a little tentative again with the lead. My kids wanted to win so bad, Gordy and Kenny. I thought they played a little bit more cautious than they have in a lot of our games. We finally attacked the press a little bit, but we really blew a couple there at the end, didn't we? Man.
George, we need a final word for you. First of all, let me point out, Don, he was sitting over there relaxing, enjoying the basketball game. We had a problem with Fred White, had some laryngitis. George, you did a whale of a job. Your final thoughts on this ball game?
Well, I think that this proves once and for all that Idaho's for real, and the people out back east and in the Midwest that don't think so are going to find out. I tell you what, they play as fine a matchup zone as I've ever seen, and they play the passing lanes very well, and they have two super intelligent guards in Owens and Kellerman.
All right, and that'll do it out here. We've had ourselves a great basketball game. The final, once again, from Pullman, Washington.